Hey there, guys. We've got news for Global on December 15th, and this week joining me to discuss it is Gwythian. So you can say hello.
Hey,
So you are the guy that has taken over the Brave Exvius Builder website, and just, for myself and probably everyone else that plays the game, huge thank you and huge thumbs up for updating it every week and taking it over. It was great for years and years when Ligard was playing and maintaining it. He has since retired, and you have taken over. And I just wanted to say at the start, huge thanks for taking over and updating it.
it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it. It's it's been a challenge and exciting all at the same time, and so happy I could help out.
For sure, for sure. So this week is it's kind of we already kind of knew the news because of the live stream. I even made like a sort of a joke video recapping the live stream because it was honestly a joke and at the same time kind of realistic because it was a very brief live stream because all we really have is the Final Fantasy VII event and Vision World. But there's more news to go over. So Final Fantasy VII, are you one of the millions of fans for this game, Gwythian?
I have the unpopular opinion of it not being my favorite.
Oh, that's fine. It's not my favorite either. I enjoy the game. It's just not my favorite of the Final Fantasies, which is, if you don't mind saying.
I so the first one I ever played was Final Fantasy 4 or 2 on the Super Nintendo. Cecil, Rosa, all them. So they've been my favorite for a long time. 10's probably my second favorite after that. But that's just where I ended up.
Awesome, awesome. So we've got Premium Cloud and then Avalanche Barrett, who is kind of like a filler unit here, but so it's a premium banner, but it seems like they're doing premiums a little different this time. It's actually closer to like some of the global exclusive stuff, where you've got some guaranteed Neos along the way for the one-time step up, and it seems to be a curated pool of only premium units, all of them up to and including Cloud, but the near units as limiteds are of course not in here. Do you plan to pull on this banner with you?
I have not made up my mind yet. I'm leaning towards no, but I've often changed my mind midway through things, so we'll see how it ends up.
All right, that's fair. I'm same way. I haven't decided. I'm leaning towards no, very likely no, but things would always change, especially once Clash of Wills comes out. Probably while this banner is still going to be open, then I can have a. How long is the banner? That's a good question. That no one asked except me. Usually there's a date
So the
on here.
28th up there.
Oh, here it is, till the 28th. Okay, so assuming Clash of Wills is for Christmas, it'll probably be next week, and this will probably be open. So yeah, I don't have to rush to judgment right away. So that's good.
I do
So
like the shards on the step up. Like, I think that's a good idea.
I completely overlooked that. That is cool. And is there a token shop? There is, and I don't see shards in the shop. So it seems like there's going to be shards on the banner, but not in the shop, which is fine, I guess. You're still available. They're just moving where they're located. That's cool.
It does kind of incentivize you to go the whole way if you don't get it, or I mean, or if you get it earlier and you want to stop. It kind of like, well, if you want to finish, you know.
So how much does the whole thing cost? It's 11, 16, 20, 23, 25,000. It's slightly cheaper than usual. Usually it's like 28 for the special banners.
Yeah, it is a little cheaper.
So that's cool. So we were talking last night about Cloud, and you seem to have more research in him than I did. So do you want to tell us what Cloud does and about him?
I mean, I, from a high level, as long as they don't change anything, he's kind of interesting. He's definitely a lightning based attacker. He's not locked to it though, which is good. He's got 4 different elements he can imbue himself with, but lightning is definitely the one that amps him up the most. It's 150% amp, right?
Yep, for one turn,
Yeah.
one effective turn.
And what's interesting about him, I guess, that I latched onto at least is that his STMR. I don't know. Am I jumping ahead too much?
What was that?
I wasn't sure if I should start talking about his STMR and TMR yet.
Oh yeah, it's fine. Go for it. Go for
Okay.
it.
I I like it in that it's a high attack chess piece, but like the Clash of Wills gear tends to be preferred in this case. I guess you could use his to pretty good effect because his passive is pretty good. I would say better than usual. Um, and then his Trustmaster is really interesting in that from what I was able to research, it's the only materia in the game that has LB damage boost and a killer on it, which I thought was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But he seems to be sort of in the vein of the last two units we got with A2 and 2B, which I guess we had Xenogears in between, but even they had machine killers. So it's kind of interesting that we've got 3 machine killer banners in a row.
Oh yeah, and the Clash of Wills is the coming Clash of Wills is actually not even a machine.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting that they've leaned pretty heavily into the machine killer, and it's just kind of lightning and machine killer again. So, I do like his sprite. I thought it was pretty good, but it is like the 4th cloud that we have. At least the 3rd.
So, like all the clouds, like the sprites are all fairly similar. That said, it all is the same character, of course. So he doesn't have, we never got his Wall Street outfit. That is the one time in the game he does change his appearance. It would have been funny to get that.
I would brave shift into that. And his card's pretty good for him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's you get that LB damage, you get the physical for humans, and the 500 boost for him. The downside is obviously he's premium, so it's like if this is a necessary part of his build, you have to take him all the way to EX3.
Mm-hmm. And the card is, you mentioned it, but yeah, just to really point it out, it is locked to Final Fantasy VII for the flat stats, so it's not going to be the greatest option on non-Final Fantasy VII units, unless like this is your first big card. But for most players, you're going to want other cards for other units. But for Final Fantasy VII, this is amazing.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure is he a chainer or like?
No, he has some chaining.
Finisher, right?
Yeah, he has some chaining skills in his kit, but they're just like for the chain score and dark visions. You don't actually use them for anything relevant. Both of his LBs are a one-hit capper, which is fine for most things, but that is kind of hard locked by a 10 billion damage cap. But thankfully, most dark visions are getting so bulky that units going past 10 billion is very rare. So that's not really a problem, but every now and then it can be. He also has a finishing move in his kit that's a 1400x modifier, which is almost irrelevant. But you were the one that pointed out to me the exact timestamp in the live stream where Tony gave us the mod boost. Do you remember what it was?
I don't. Like 2200. Is that what
it was? It was 220 for every 10% morale above the target. So Tony, for once, I'm glad they finally gave us some actual numbers in a stream. So that is effectively at maximum morale in Clash of Wills. That's a 2200 X modifier bonus, and if you apply that to the biggest skill in his kit, which, like we said, is the 1400 finisher, then that'll be about a 3600 finisher in Clash of Wills with morale, which is interesting. The downside of that is I did some damage calculations, and comparing his fully powered LB, when you go through all the steps, you do got to do a bunch of stuff to power it up. But for Thunder Element specifically, if you go through all his setup, his LB actually still out damages a 3600 finisher. But the other thing is the 3600 finisher is non-elemental, whereas his max-powered LB imbues him with thunder and all that. So it's kind of thunder-locked a little bit. So this would be good for other elements that you want to bring Cloud to. So do you think that's going to be enough to make him worth chasing for Clash of Wills type players, Gwythian?
to have a finisher that's you're able to imbue.
Yes.
I think what's interesting about a finisher is we haven't had a true finisher in a while. It's always been LB chainers and I don't know, dragoons or something like that. But it's kind of interesting. I know some people really favor the idea of just the hard hitting finisher. I think maybe Olive was the last true finisher. Is that accurate?
She does. Her base LB is finishing, although most people tend to use her SLB, which is Extreme Nova.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, that's kind of cool that it's been a while since we've had a true finisher. But I don't know if that's enough to incentivize most people to be like, yeah, let's pull on a premium banner to EX3. I mean, I don't know.
And let's real briefly, I did some damage calculations. And again, these are preemptive calculations. These are always like fine-tuned after maintenance, after Gwythian has had a chance to update the builder, and then I use the builder to get like a final build. So anytime you use like my personal damage calculations for an unreleased unit, just keep in mind they're usually a ballpark estimate, although they're pretty close, but the final calculations will come after probably sometime Thursday evening. But here's Cloud Strife in Dark Vision's calculations. At the current time, he's pretty much number one on global. But the big disclaimer here is this is for Thunder Element. This is with his 150 Amplify, which is Thunder. So if you're not doing Thunder, it won't be quite as good. But to be fair, that's the same thing for pretty much all the 150 guys. Like the Near units, Sighton, and every other unit going forward, you're going to see big numbers for their specific element. They lose a bunch going off element. Cloud is no different. It's the same for the Near units, the same for everyone. But on a Thunder team, he's really good in Dark Visions. And then in Clash of Wills, this is with his LB. Remember what I said, the new move, if we go by the numbers that Tony mentioned in the live stream, his LB still slightly outdamages it. So for Thunder Element, he's approximately 4th place in Clash of Wills, behind Chizuru, A2, and 2B. And that's with A2 and 2B being Light Element. Thankfully, the next Clash is Light and Lightning viable, so they're both, all that's going to work, for the right elements there.
Yeah, I'm really curious to get his actual kit to see if we're missing something, because it does seem really bizarre that a new unit would be that far behind, like A2 and 2B, but we'll see. Yeah,
in Clash of Wills, but in Dark Visions, he is, as expected. I actually saw a post on Reddit recently that was kind of someone was kind of frustrated that Cloud is doing more damage than the Near units in Dark Visions, and people were just making like the classic joke that it's a gotcha game, and the unit coming out next week is always better than the unit coming out this week. But it's kind of true. That's just the way gotcha games work. And yeah, the Near units were not going to be at the top forever, and the new premium 2 weeks later is out damaging them in Dark Visions. So
one thing that's interesting about Cloud that I thought is technically you can get at least part of his LB boost and change his element. If you use like Sylvie's sort of like remove element kind of ability. You don't get the amp still, but it's interesting that I think you can remove the imbue and still get part of the LB boost.
You can, and actually, I think his mod boosts are undispellable, meaning you could do things like we do with Graph. Maybe let's check right now on the wiki if it's undispellable, because then you can like mod boost him and then dispel the imbue. It's not undispellable. Ooh. So that won't work, but things like Sylvie will, because Sylvie removes the imbue without a full dispel, but you can't do like Rage Beast Roar to get rid of that. Won't work because that'll dispel the mod boost.
Kaito do that too?
Kaito cannot do that on players, and he Kaito's Magnuses and all. Also, they only remove like buffs or debuffs. So if you like, for example, did like the retarget trick with Kaito, it would remove all his buffs and would get rid of all of it. So that wouldn't work either. Right. Another one, although this is not going to ever be worth doing, but just for completion's sake, the Elric brothers can also do that. But you're not going to bring them just to swap Cloud's element.
Yeah.
But it could be cool.
I do like their kit still.
Yeah. So that's Cloud. He's a premium. He does good damage. That's really all he does, though. We didn't really mention that, but that's kind of all he does is damage. Like, compared to someone like Chizuru, who does damage and a whole support kit, Cloud is pretty much just going to hit things, the end. Very one-dimensional, but it's good damage. It's really good damage. And then there's Barrett. Avalanche's Barrett. So this guy is basically just like a fire version of the premium Jekt, but a little worse. That's kind of it. He covers. He can fill LB. He's got some resistance buffs. He covers physical, by the way. He can deal some damage. It's not great damage, and Global didn't upgrade him the way they upgraded Jekt. So compared to Jekt, it'll be a whole lot worse. What am I missing with Barrett?
I thought that was a pretty good summary.
That's pretty much it, huh?
Jekt, who I was going to compare him to too, as well. So,
yeah, he's just like a slightly worse Jekt. But
I told you Final Fantasy X was better.
There you go. But I will mention, in the distant future, like 6 months from now, during the Crisis Core event, I will just say I did find Barrett very useful for the Final Fantasy VII locked EX bosses that are pretty challenging, and Barrett found use there for me, so that's something in his favor. I wouldn't pull for him for that reason. I'm not going to pull for him for that reason, but if you're pulling for Cloud and you happen to get a few Barretts, it's not the end of the world. He does have a little use way down the road. Probably not until then, though.
Hopefully you can off-banner him in the meantime.
STMR is a two-handed defense gun, which is not super great. Like, Barrett's going to obviously want it for himself, but pretty much no one else is going to want that. And then 100% double hand defense with gun or fist is his TMR. Again, it's super specialized, and I don't think anyone's going to really want this except him.
Yeah. The card might be interesting for other tanks, if I remember right. It's just physical tanks that can use it, so... Compared to the other tank cards available, though, I'm actually not sure how it stacks up. I didn't check yet.
Yeah, so if you're using this on a physical tank, it's really good. I'd say it's about on par with Warrior of Light's tank card. If you're using this on non-tanks, like in order to tank, for example, like Sylvie is your provoker, she's only going to get the raw stats and the gut. She won't get these passives, so I would say something like Power Cut, the Dragon Quest card, is a lot better for something like for a non-physical tank being your tank. Overall, not a special card, not bad, but not anything to worry about really. And then the login reward is a whole bunch of stuff, etc., pulls, tickets, etc. But we're getting a free Cetra Descendant Aerith, who is technically she's a premium unit, although this is the second time she's been given out for free, so it makes her feel less premium. But she is a really good unit, though. She's still one of the best holy supports out there. Like, I'd say she's the second best behind the new premium Fina. But she's good. Do you have her already, Gwythian?
I have her, but I think she's EX1 or EX2. I missed, like... I think this might be the third time they sent something out for her.
Oh, could be.
Because I when I took a break from playing for a while, I noticed that a bunch of people had her at EX3 all of a sudden. I was like, wait, what'd I miss? But I'm actually excited about her coming back because anytime I can get my hands on a little more shards for her, I'm excited about it because she was the original 400% buffer, right?
Yeah, she was the first, I believe.
Yeah, so... and it's super accessible too, if I remember right. So it's good to have for like those OTK type quick kit things.
Yep. So that'll be useful for us. We're also getting a ton of free pulls. A free weekly 50 pull for 6 weeks. And they're going to be, it sounded like from the live stream, they're going to be updating this each week. So for example, if Clash is next week, the Clash unit will go in here. And then the next unit, etc. You can get all the new units from the polls each week, or you can get Cloud, Barrett, etc. 3% rate. So free polls are always nice. Great to have.
Yeah. Can't
The other,
complain about
mhm. The other thing is season 4. We kind of expected this like 2 weeks ago, but a little bit late. It's here now. That's fine. So season 4. I usually ask my guests this when they show up on a story update week. So how do you like the story of Brave Exvius, and how do you like season 4 compared to the other ones, Gwythian?
that.
Or do you even read the story?
I do. I read the story. I think season 1 is still my favorite. Um, Season 3 is probably my least favorite. 2's after that, and then 4 I've actually been enjoying for the most part. It's got some cool story and a couple cool twists. So,
Mm-hmm. It seems,
and we still don't know who Van Harmon is. At least on the global side, I don't know about JP.
I think JP still doesn't either. And I guess don't correct me in the comments, because people do read the comments and it would be a spoiler for global. But I don't think, by my memory, well, I don't know who it is, so I don't think JP does either. But I don't follow the JP story that closely. Although on global I do read it all, because I can read it in global.
Don't spoil it. That's rude.
Yeah. Don't spoil it in the comments, anyone. But also, we're getting another heroic quest item. This is unfortunately the last of the season 4 quest gear they added. Like, they added like Runda's hat, Obsidian Bracer, all that kind of stuff. To my knowledge, they've never added any more in season 4 after this one. And unfortunately, this one is a little weak. It's an item for Runda, and it gives him an 87% attack break, which is, it's okay, but 87% isn't anything to be excited about. It does take a gear slot, and yeah, this one's not quite as cool as the stuff like the stuff for Tyvis or the heroic bracer, etc. But we're getting it.
Yeah, he's already got an attack break in his kit anyway, and he's got his 85% mitigations anyway. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not worth the slot.
Yeah. But it's free, so there it is.
Yep.
And then the exciting thing is World of Vision's Final Fantasy VII. And as we now know from here, it is going to be shared rank 1. So that's pretty cool, I guess.
I always like shared rank 1. That's how I like it. But
Mm-hmm. And they don't have specific news about this, but these little green crystals on the far right, looks like Global is calling them Galvanite, and these are used to upgrade your Espers. So at release, assuming we follow it by JP, which I'm sure we will, it's only going to be Siren and Ifrit. So what these are, Siren and Ifrit are going to get 4 extra nodes on the 4 corners of their skill grid. These are going to be for 10, 10, 10, and 20% extra killer. Now, these special killers on the grid that can only be unlocked with these special Galvanites, they go over the passive killer cap. So for a unit, let's say you put Vivi on Siren, and Vivi has 300 bird killer naturally. Siren will give Vivi 350 bird killer before buffs. So it's pretty cool. It's also very expensive because these Galvanites are pretty rare. We get 4 of them for like the introduction of the system, but going forward, assuming we follow JP, you only get like 2 of them per Dark Visions, and only if you rank very high. Even on the Vision World, you've got to rank 3,000 or higher, but it is a shared Vision World, so if more than 3,000 players get rank 1, you're all getting... Oh, actually, no, it's not 4, it's 2. So it's the same here. It's 2 Galvanite. Yeah, so they're very, very rare. These are like the new Mastery Crowns. They're super rare, and it's very expensive. You also need a bunch of skill points to unlock these killers. So what kind of player are you, Gwythian? Are you the kind of guy that is going to hoard these for eternity, save your elixir for the final boss, or do you like spend these as you get them?
I think my approach with them would be to wait until more Espers were available and then decide where the best place to put them would be.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like me. I'm the kind that usually hoards, unless I specifically need it for a very specific reason. I'll probably be saving mine. In JP, I've got, at this point, I've got like 10 of these in JP, and I've still never spent a single one. Currently in JP, they've only expanded the system to also include Shiva and Ramu. So only 4 Espers total have the overflow killers. And that's it. But yeah, it's going to be Siren and Ifrit on the early. Siren gets Bird Killer. It's only for Bird Killer on Siren. Ifrit, I don't specifically remember. It's either Beast and Plant. I keep thinking in my head it's just Beast on Ifrit, but it could be both because Ifrit is Plant and Beast Killer naturally. We'll see that on Thursday. I don't know. We'll figure it out. And then the bosses. The bosses are going to be staggered. What was that?
I was just going to say it's interesting from an FFB equip perspective that I'm going to have to start thinking about that.
Oh yeah, the way they're gonna implement the overflow killers. That would have to be coded completely from scratch, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there's no existing functionality for that. I mean, there is the manual amount of killer you can add. So worst case scenario, at least as a temporary solution, you could just add it in that way.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. That is again huge thumbs up for doing all the work to keep that going for us. So the bosses are, it's the usual split. Thankfully, only a 2-day split. So on Thursday, we're getting the early 4, and then on, I guess this is Saturday, we're getting the final bosses. So that's nice. We're actually not having to wait till a Monday or the following week, etc. I'm really glad for that. And in JP, these bosses were, it wasn't cappable in JP. So the first 6 were cappable in JP. And they were relatively easy to cap. The final boss was not shared. He had no damage cap. So as far as how hard is it to cap in global, I guess we'll find that out on Saturday for that one. There's some gear. This is, the typical Vision World gear. Get it. It's good gear. Get it. Farm it. Craft it. And then the bonus stages. We've got Reno is getting another rerun. So you're going to get another copy if you already have the earlier ones. If not, you're going to get the first one. And then his silver crowns are apparently being converted to master crowns, and I guess based on the news, he is not getting his crowns. Although it does say he's going to get further updates in the future, so maybe they're just delaying his crowns instead of canceling them entirely. What do you think, Gwythian?
They probably have more Final Fantasy VII units that they want to roll out, and they'll just roll Reno out with it. I mean, that's my guess. I don't know.
Probably. So during this Reno stuff, you're going to be getting, you see over here these silver Gigantors and special door pots. Well, these are unit-specific pots and doors and enhancement materials. So this stuff you get from these and this is going to be a common theme going forward. It's going to be the same for Kelger on Final Fantasy V, the same for Sonnen on the Yuffie banner, etc. All the free units from this point forward have this special farming stage to get the unit. So you get the unit, you farm the stage, you get their fragment. Based on JP, it takes a ton of energy and time. Hopefully Global has toned that down a little bit. They don't say in the news, but I'm hopeful that they have. And the materials you get, you can see a preview in the thing here. So when you go into your enhancement menu, for that specific unit that has specific materials, you're going to want to click this one. You'll see the little fix icon. That's the one you want to click and use first. If your Reno is already maxed out from the previous runs and you don't care about making a third copy, keep in mind these will actually, no, these I don't think clutter your inventory, but the Cactuars, the Emperor Cactuars, I seriously doubt anyone already 130 their Reno. So yeah, this is not going to apply to anyone. So you're going to get silver Cactuars for Reno. They're going to bring him to 130 for free, and they can only be used on Reno. There's no reason to save them, so you may as well just use them on Reno to get yourself a free level 130. So it's cool, I guess.
I'm sure there's a whale somewhere that's hold my beer.
Someone already preemptively did a 130 Reno. I hope not, but that is possible. And if so, it even says down here, if you use regular Cactuars, you are not getting them back, etc. So just don't do it. Just use the silvers on Reno. And that's pretty much it. So anything else to go over before we end it with you?
Are you gonna help me get my T-shirt?
Oh, from the stream. Honestly speaking, I don't entirely know how that's working because but that's the thing with me during these streams. I'm like, while they're doing the live stream, half of it is me. I'm like talking in like 4 different Discord servers at once. So I didn't hear all the details about the shirt. So tell me more about this contest.
I was mostly joking, but
Oh.
basically, it's that I think you have to follow them on social media, and then you like post any kind of post on their social media mentioning someone and saying like something you enjoy about playing FFB with them or encouraging them to play FFB or something like that, and then they select whoever it was that you posted and the person you mentioned, and both of you get a T-shirt.
Oh, that'd be cool.
But they only select like 10 pairs of people, I think. So,
all right. Well, maybe me and you can both get ourselves a fancy T-shirt. That'd be pretty cool.
yeah.
All right. Well, that's gonna be it for now. Thanks again for joining me with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right. See you guys on Thursday.